If you're a fan of animated movies, you've definitely watched, or at least heard of The Incredibles, one of the best animated films in history. But do you have any idea how many Easter eggs and hidden details are tucked away in what's considered Disney's most grown-up animated movie? After sending his tiny and arrogant boss flying through 4 walls, yes, we counted, Bob ends up in the hospital, where he runs into the government agent responsible for helping superheroes transition into normal civilian life. And if you look closely right before they get into the elevator, you can see 2 hospital workers pushing a stretcher, with someone unconscious lying on it. If you pause at the right moment, you'll notice that person is none other than the cop. Frozone froze after he and Mr. Incredible saved people from a burning building, meaning he's fine, probably just caught a little cold.
Drink! Now, I want you to...
I know. Freeze.
Another really cool detail happens when Mr. Incredible is on his way to marry Elastigirl. On the radio, he hears about robbers in a high-speed police chase. That's when we see his car transform in a pretty awesome way. It's a clear nod to what happens in the Men in Black movies. But here's a detail only a handful of fans picked up on. When Bob activates the criminal's tracking system, the city map flashes his personal symbol on the computer screen. That same design later becomes the iconic logo for the whole family of heroes. The tiny emblem even marks the location of his car on the city map. Next, we discover that Mr. Incredible's car actually has several action modes we never got to see in the movies, at least not yet. He switches from manual driving and scrolls through the following. Hover mode, probably designed to hover or even fly. Hydro Pursuit, most likely used for water chases. Isolate Pursuit, the one he chooses, perfect for solo hunts against criminals. Then he scrolls through 2 more. Auto mode, obviously the automatic mode. Merge Pursuit, seems like a combined chase mode where he can team up with the police, which is exactly the option he picks while changing into his suit. The scene goes by so fast that most fans never realized the car had all these hidden features. And when the car's transformation finishes, check out the hood, you'll spot a red dot over the letter I. That's the official mark of none other than Mr. Incredible himself. It even looks like the choice of church for Bob and Elastigirl's wedding followed the same theme. If you look at the stained glass window, you'll see the eye for Incredibles worked into the design. A subtle, brilliantly hidden detail almost nobody noticed back then. But we notice that this same pattern repeats once again, this time right in the middle of the movie, when Mr. Incredible, 15 years later, is working without realizing it for Syndrome, who was Incrediboy in the past. When he walks into what's supposed to be the meeting room, which is actually a trap, notice that on the table there's Syndrome's S logo, proving that, even after becoming a villain, the character still tries to copy his favorite hero any way he can. Had you ever noticed that before? Get ready to see all 18 details you most likely missed in The Incredibles, and blow your mind. Still in this scene inside the meeting room where Mr. Incredible gets ambushed, notice that when he looks at the clock, it's exactly 2 o'clock. What really caught our attention is the fact that earlier, when Bob is in his insurance company boss's office, we see that the 4 clocks there all show it's exactly 10 minutes to 2. Coincidence? Probably not. We believe this was meant as a reference to the fact that he was about to go back to his hero life, even facing arch enemies again, just like Syndrome. In other words, at 10 minutes to 2, he was fighting a small-time villain, his boss who didn't want to pay out insurance claims, even though it was the right thing to do. And at 2 o'clock sharp, he was facing a real enemy who actually wanted to take his life. That's a really clever analogy from the director, I've got to admit.
To losing your...
In that same office where Bob is listening to his insurance manager's rant, look behind him. On top of a cabinet, there's a cactus in a pot. And not by accident, the plant has the exact same shape as Bob's boss's head, maybe suggesting how prickly of a person he was, if you know what I mean. Still in the same office, right before Mr. Incredible walks in, we see the boss holding up a pencil, and if you pause at the right moment, you'll notice the phrase written on it, "Your life in our hands," which of course is a reference to the company's line of business, but it's also a nod to what real heroes do when they save people's lives, and even pets' lives, like Mr. Incredible does at the start of the movie when he rescues a cat from a tree. Before we keep going with our list of details, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Few people remember this, but heroes have been celebrated since ancient times, like in ancient Greece. But in case we forget, Edna Mode makes sure to remind us. When Mr. Incredible goes to her mansion to repair his suit that had been ripped by the killer robot, right there on the huge wall in her main hall we can see carvings of Theseus, a demigod son of Zeus, fighting Medusa, the same one with the snakes on her head. And also the Minotaur, the mythological creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull. Right after that, we see Edna herself say she's bored with making clothes only for supermodels, and that she misses the days when she designed for gods, referring to superheroes. And then we see a fountain with a structure that looks just like Hercules, another demigod son of Zeus, who, by the way, also had his own Disney movie released in 1997. But hold on, the references to the Greek world don't stop there. After being ambushed by Syndrome and ending up in an underwater cave, Mr. Incredible finds the skeleton of a hero from his own time, Gazer Beam, who also fell victim to the villain's evil plans, but wasn't as lucky. And when Bob sees where he was looking, he discovers that Gazer Beam carved the word Kronos on the wall, revealing that he had figured out Syndrome's true plan. And in case you didn't know, that name is a direct reference to the father of the main gods in Greek mythology, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. His name was Kronos, and he had the twisted practice of devouring his own children so he wouldn't risk being replaced by one of them. In the end, though, that's exactly what happened once Zeus grew up, thanks to his mother hiding him. Going back to the beginning of the movie, when Mr. Incredible stops a thief who was on top of a building, notice that on the ground there are several items scattered around that had fallen out of the thief's bag, and among them, there's even a Mr. Incredible dispenser, proving that the hero really was super popular back then. In fact, he actually has one of these in his own memory room. To top off his wedding prep day, Mr. Incredible also ends up bumping into the villain Bomb Voyage by pure coincidence. He disguises himself as a mime, but in reality, he's a bomb specialist. And if you think back, you'll remember he eventually escapes, and his name is never mentioned again in the movie. But there's an explanation for that. He went back to his home country, France. The proof of this is in Ratatouille, released 3 years after The Incredibles, where we can spot the character apparently living a crime-free life on the streets of Paris. After their plane is shot down by Syndrome's missiles, Helen manages to save her 2 kids, and they all crash into the ocean. And here comes one of those details I went years without noticing. And you probably did too. You might remember that Elastigirl anticipates the danger and dodges a massive chunk of plane debris that was about to crush them. But how exactly did she see it coming? Well, the answer is right there in the scene. If you slow it down, you'll notice she spots the danger by looking at its reflection on the surface of the water. Seriously, that's the kind of thing only a well-trained hero like Helen would be able to pick up on. This little touch from Disney's animators is just amazing.
Panic, we're not gonna look out!
And if we really stop to think about it, the way Elastigirl saves Dash and Violet is pretty much the same way she saves Jack later on, even including a plane explosion in both cases. The only difference is that this time the debris actually falls on top of everyone, but Violet protects the family with her force field. No doubt one of the most satisfying moments in the movie is when Syndrome gets sucked into the turbine of his own plane because of his cape. That just proves Edna was right all along when she said her designs didn't include capes since they were way too dangerous. And honestly, if we think about it, Syndrome never learned that lesson because at the very beginning of the movie, Bomb Voyage sticks a bomb right on his cape, which was, in a way, a foreshadowing of his end. So did you enjoy discovering these amazing little details in The Incredibles? Then don't stop here. Check out the 2 videos that are popping up on your screen right now because I'm sure you'll laugh a lot and be even more blown away.